Next up, we've got another company presentation from Khiron. We've got the CEO, Alvaro Torres, here. Take it away, Alvaro. Give it up. Clap your hands, put them together, people. Come on.
You have the pointer?
Someone stole the clicker. I'll get it for you right now, Alvaro.
Thanks. Hi, how's everybody doing? Good morning. Good afternoon. Great, thanks. Green button. Okay, thanks. Well, thank you, everybody. My name is Alvaro Torres. I am the CEO and co-founder of Khiron. Khiron is a company we founded in Latin America. We are a B2C medical cannabis company that's focused on Latin America and Europe. As a B2C company, our objective is to, create a company that's here to improve the quality of life of patients. And I would say that, we started this idea about 4 years ago. We started this company, this process. I think where we are sitting today in September, end of Q3, we're looking at all the strategy about patient acquisition. How do we go after the doctors? How do we train them? And how do we actually create the demand in a market that's much bigger than North America? It's starting to pay off great dividends for us. So we are a patient-focused company. We are selling right now in 5 countries, in Colombia, Peru, Brazil, UK, and Germany. And we do this with vertical integration that we do with our clinics that we have now, around 15 clinics worldwide. We have 11 in Colombia. We are opening 1 clinic in Brazil, in Rio, in December of this year. We just are going to open a clinic in the UK in the next couple of weeks. And we are looking to expand in Colombia with 2 additional health centers in the city of Bogota very soon. And this strategy that we're having of being able to, take the demand for ourselves, be able to capture those patients and make sure that they are well serviced, that they're taking medical cannabis and that they're not going anywhere, is working quite well for us because of these clinics. That has shown us to have 70% growth quarter over quarter and enjoying great profitability, gross profitability of about 85% because of this vertical integration. I think the strategy that Khiron has always thought about when it comes to medical cannabis is to differentiate ourselves from that B2B business where we're actually really focused on building that demand. So our vision is to reach 1 million patients by 2024. Our mission is to improve the quality of life of patients. We have been doing it for the last year and a half since we started selling medical cannabis. We are focused on Latin America and Europe, particularly in Mexico, in Colombia, in Peru, in Brazil, UK, and Germany. I think we can all agree that a market of that size is quite interesting, particularly when we look at Khiron's position in Colombia. We can safely say that we are the top leading company when it comes to selling medical cannabis to patients with a branded product in Colombia. And we have just really started. And we've been doing this in the middle of the pandemic, which, of course, makes us dream and wonder what we can do now that we're coming out of it. We have prescribed more than 45,000 prescriptions. We have serviced more than 15,000 patients in Latin America since we started. We sell these products at a very high price, let's call it high value products. And we're able to enjoy great profitability. And we've been growing the last 6 quarters without stopping. And I think one of the key things for the company when you want to think about Khiron is how, when we think about B2C, how do we actually look at our global footprint? So we think a lot about Latin America. I am Colombian. The company is based in Colombia and Toronto. Right now we've been selling in markets. We've been first company to sell in Colombia, first company to sell in Peru, one of the first companies to sell in Brazil, first company to sell in Scotland. I can assure you that Mexico, that is coming very soon, will be one of the very first companies to start selling medical cannabis in Mexico. Why are we able to do this? Because we have an amazing regulation team that understands regulation. As you all know, this is a very regulated market. If you don't understand regulation and you work from the patient backwards, it's going to be very hard to enter these markets. We started in Colombia in March of last year selling. We started in Peru in Q4 of this year. We had our first sale of medical cannabis in Brazil just a couple of months ago, and Mexico is our goal for end of the year, early 2022. In Germany, we started selling medical cannabis in March. We've been growing tremendously in Germany, being able to understand what the consumer is looking for and then working backwards to get the right supply. And in the UK, we're part of Project 2021. We started selling November of last year, and it's been growing. Our sellout is doubling every single month. And even though those numbers still don't mean that that we are profitable today, it is taking us to that trajectory where we will be cash flow neutral within the next 12 months. So we're talking about international market, and we always talk about USA, we always talk about Canada, but I want you to think really about the markets that we're attacking. We're talking a market like Latin America that has 4 million potential patients that can spend upwards of $450 a year on medical cannabis. In markets like in Colombia, where medical cannabis is actually covered by insurance. So Germany, Colombia, the two markets that have our biggest growth, are one of the few countries in the world that actually covered medical cannabis for whatever needed if it's prescribed by a doctor. And that makes Colombia and Germany, and what we will do in the rest of the countries, that we don't have to worry about the black market, that we don't have to worry about recreational, because the moment insurance companies start to cover cannabis, as they have in Colombia and in Germany, and they will do the same in the rest of these countries, in Brazil, in Mexico, the moment that happens, then you start building a really sustainable business. And of course, when we talk about Europe, it's a fantastic region. It's been growing. Germany is certainly the leader there, but the opportunity for the rest of Europe is quite amazing. I think for companies that are focused on capturing that patient, owning that demand, servicing those needs, I think that's where the market's going to be. And we're very excited to be one of the leaders in this global space. I don't think there's many companies in the world that can say they're selling finished branded product in 5 markets globally. And very excited for me that we are the ones to do that. So when we think about consumers and patients, the way we've always thought about it is, how do we convince that patient? We need to educate the doctor. How do we educate the doctor? We need to have evidence. That evidence is built on data, and that data is built on population. This is why 3 years ago, when we started our company, we acquired health services clinics in Colombia that service more than 100,000 patient transactions a year, focused on pain, neurology, sleep disorders, and mental health. Because what we know is that population allows us to generate so much information that's going to create evidence to educate the doctors and therefore to drive demand. Also because it gives us access to the insurance companies, so we can show them the benefits of cannabis, not only from a health perspective, but also from an economic point of view. When you can show an insurance company that you can save them 50% of the annual cost of a paying patient because of the treatment that you're doing, that's the disruptive aspect of medical cannabis, not only in Latin America, but in the rest of the world. And the fact that we are leading that conversation, the fact that we are providing that evidence, and the fact that today 70% of our products are covered by insurance, that starts to show that we are in the right track. And of course, this data is also going to allow us to develop new products. Today we sell sublingual oils in Latin America, dried flower in Europe. It is the iPhone 1. The data that we're collecting is going to allow us to develop the iPhone 2, the iPhone 3, and the iPhone 4. But it has all to do with the results for the patients and what that data and that evidence is telling us. So when we think about clinics, and when we think our strategy of going after those patients through clinics, it's because the clinics give us access to 3 populations. Number 1, the patients, second, the doctors, and third, the insurance companies. As I told you, we've seen more than 15,000 patients with medical cannabis. 90% of the patients that are going to our clinic are experiencing a significant improvement in the primary condition because of the cannabis that we sell them, and the Khiron brand that we provide, and the service that we provide. When we talk to the doctors, we've trained more than 400 up to 1,000 doctors in Latin America and in Europe on medical cannabis, using the evidence that we're building in our clinics. That means that today, a doctor in Khiron, in our clinics, prescribes 4 times as much per day as they used to prescribe a year ago. And I can promise you that a year from now, that number will increase as well. Because the ecosystem that we have built that allows us to generate medical cannabis evidence, that allows the doctors to feel comfortable about medical cannabis, is just helping us and allowing us to continue to drive more education. And that takes all the way to insurance companies, where you're showing them the savings, where you're showing them that cannabis is not a fad, it's not a trend, that it's really here to stay because it's a disruptive force to the opioid crisis. That's why we are doing these clinics. That's how we're capturing demand. And this is why the focus of our company has always been on those patients and how do we capture them, how do we service them, which is exactly what the clinics do for us. Our clinic, Serenia, it has 15, I say 16, because we're planning to expand this also very soon. We're going to expand our presence in Mexico. Today, 1 out of 3 patients that come to the clinic live with a cannabis prescription. I mean, today, in the month of September. A year ago, it was 1 out of 30. So you can see that it's growing every single month because of the evidence that we're building. And every patient and every prescription, we are making 85% gross profit on $60 a unit. And we don't have to think about price compression because we got the insurance companies to cover it. And the question with the insurance companies is not about how much cheaper is the cannabis. It's I'm spending $5,000 a year on a chronic pain patient. 80% of that is pregabalin, morphine, buprenorphine. My equation is I can save you $2,000 a year. It's not about the price per gram. It's about how much you're saving on the annualized cost of the patient. And the fact that we have so much evidence that we can show them and talk to them, it's a long process. But at the same time, you're building around your business a very big moat that very few people can actually try to penetrate. And now, because of all this evidence and the reason that the patients are liking it and insurance coverage, we're able to talk about numbers and figures that are very significant. We have a 50% retention rate, which means that 1 out of 2 patients stays for more than 3 months. And that means that we can actually continue to plan ahead the sustainability of our business because 1 out of the 2 patients that are coming are staying cannabis, paying $60 a month, 85% gross profits. We can get that up to 75%, which is our goal. And that's just going to take more time to be able to provide more evidence and educate more people. But it's happening. If you think about our retention rates a year ago, it was only 10%. So it's clearly that the evidence, the work, the education with the doctors is working and that patients are actually feeling better, which is really, this is what we do. Also, when we talk about evidence, everybody talks about evidence, and evidence is really built upon data. A couple of weeks ago, Khiron made a presentation at the International Pain Conference with an observational trial of 1,500 patients for 12 months. I can assure you that in Latin America, there's not such study with that amount of patients, that amount of population. And what that created and started to create 2 weeks ago is credibility with the doctors. I was just in a panel talking about Europe, and we were talking about how in Germany or some other countries, doctors think cannabis is the third-line alternative. But this is not the truth for Khiron. Our doctors believe that it could be the first, the second, or the third. And that's going to happen the more evidence that we can present. So the fact that we're able to show that we have 85% positive clinic response, 70% adherence to the program on a 1,500 patient study, that's how you start building credibility. That's how you start breaking the barriers for mental barriers for patients and doctors. And at the same time, you're building for yourself, we're building for ourselves, I would say, a great brand recognition on our clinics and on our products, because this data is all done with Khiron-made products, which is, for us, the way to build a moat around our company. We think about the product pipeline. I was telling you about, we sell 5 SKUs in Latin America, sublingual oils, very basic iPhone 1, high CBD, high THC, 1-to-1, high 1-to-1, and rich CBD. We are selling dry flower in Germany and in the UK. And we just got our first 2 branded product approvals in Peru, which is a significant milestone because there's not many actual branded products in Latin America. And what we're going to be doing in the next, let's say, 12 months, we're going to be developing new products, topicals for pain in Colombia, and in Europe, we're going to be introducing oils and other types of products. And we can do that because we understand the data that we're collecting from our clinics. That data is then taken also to Germany and to the UK, and we're educating doctors globally on information nobody's able to provide. And that's why we're working and growing so much. Just a few operational highlights of what we do, because I think for our company, it's always been about execution. And I think, of course, we're in very early stages of the company, but when you start seeing on the real metrics of how we grow, that's when it starts becoming exciting. You see every quarter continuous growth, and we're just in the first inning of the first game of the World Series. You look at Germany and Europe, you see the sellout of product. For a company from Latin America, and I remember a year ago, people are asking, what business does a Latin American company have to do with Europe? And our answer was, not only do I have a fantastic team there, but the evidence we're building, that's what the doctors in Germany will require. And you can see that in the output, in the sellout in grams that we're selling, in the number of patient interactions that we have in our clinics. Today, we've seen 100,000 patients for the first 9 months in Colombia. That's more than we did in the entire 2020. We still have 3 months left. So there's something here working around how are we growing, how we're selling product, how we're convincing doctors. And slowly but surely, these numbers continue to grow. And this is just, so you know, most of these numbers come from Colombia and Germany. We just started in Brazil, 200 million people. We're going to be in Mexico very soon, 120. And we're going to open a clinic in the UK, which, you know, it's a market where patients can spend upwards to 120, 150 pounds a month. So we're going the right track. I think our numbers start to show that we are a growth company. So we are still building our business. But what you can see quarter by quarter is that, there you go, that there's consistent overall revenue growth. Q3 is going to be much, much better than Q2. And if we just do the numbers of September, we will already have another 35, 40% growth in Q4. And we can say this because of the retention of patients, because we already have patients that are coming and returning to our business. The cannabis sales are driving growth in the company. We do have two types of businesses here. We have a clinical business and a medical cannabis. The clinical business is really an ability for us to capture patients. And the more we drive cannabis sales, the more profitability we're bringing down to the company. Where you see now that we started in Europe, you start to look at the speed at which all of this platform is generating growth in Germany. Where we can say today that 35% of our sales in medical cannabis at 85% gross profits come from Germany. That is something that's quite appealing for us because those are the type of markets that are going to provide us great profitability in the future. And now that we can say that 72, 75% of our gross profits come from medical cannabis, that's how we build a sustainable business. When we look at our capital structure, you can see, of course, we've been a growing company. Of course, we're still in negative EBITDA, but the way that we have been able to claw back ourselves up because of the profitability that we're generating, and Q3 and Q4 are going to be much higher than this. And we already know this because of the amount of patients that we're servicing. We're very close to getting to that neutrality, but we're also very close to getting to much bigger markets with a unique business model that, no, I would say today, nobody's been able to replicate in Latin America or Europe. And we're just really getting started. We have, a good amount of capital in our balance. We're not looking to raise money in the next couple of months. Right now, our focus is on execution and keep showing that growth. Keep selling medical cannabis, collecting revenues from our clients, the insurance companies, and be sure that we can continue to have these stories as we have done in the last couple of quarters. So just to finalize, I think Khiron is clearly the leader in this international emerging market, at least starting with Latin America. No other company has that type of presence and that type of moat. We have a very unique patient-to-see strategy in which we focus on the patient needs and then we work backwards on the supply. And this allows us to have not only great growth, but great profitability. We have a proven model in Colombia that today is being exported to Brazil, to Peru, and to UK. And very soon we will be exporting it in Mexico. And we have an increasing global execution and a team that understands how to get compliant product from Colombia, everywhere else, from Europe, from within Europe, and understands how to talk to the patients, how to advertise, how to market, how to operate in very different conditions. So that being said, thank you so much for your time. I'm more than happy to take a couple of questions. We have time for that? Yeah? And with that, well, thank you everybody for your time.
Questions for Alvaro? What about New York City? Are you coming to New York City is the question.
I'm here today, but no, it's hard for us because we work in federally legal countries. And of course, the United States is not one of them. And it's because we're a TSX company, we can only operate in federally legal countries. But I tell you, the US is a fantastic market, but don't forget that Latin America, some of the richest people in the world are because they own Latin America. There's an opportunity to be owners of that bigger market instead of trying to compete with another 1,000 companies for the same market, as good as it is. So that's the way we look at it. Any more questions? No?
All right. Thank you, Alvaro.
Thank you so much. Sorry I messed up with your...
Everyone give it up.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.